What can startup biological companies do to attract larger companies as a partner? And what kind of data or information do companies planning to enter a partnership need to have?
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah, for the question. Large companies are super selective. Super selective. No small selective, super selective. If you are a startup and you have something in your hand that you want to offer to this big company, in my opinion, there are 5 things that has to be super clear. 5, no 100. 5. The one is clear differentiation signs. I mean, your product have a specific mode of action, you have a specific, I don't know, super great novel strain, whatever. You have to demonstrate that you have differentiation, not in your product, in your science. I mean, robust biological efficacy data against benchmark and field validation, because in biological, there is a huge gap between the lab to the field. You can have an incredible formulation, biological formulation, but finally it's not doing anything in the field. This gap between the lab to the field is key element that is not happening in other type of product. No? So robust biological and field validation is fundamental. This is the first point. The second element is you are a startup, you have to demonstrate that you are able to scale up and you have facilities. Very often, when you speak with startups and arrive with fantastic things, in 1 second you realize that they're not able to do anything because no factory, no process, nothing, is only one idea in one lab. And this happens very often with a startup. So very clear scale up path and facilities. The third element that for me is fundamental is intellectual property. When it's intellectual property, it's not only patent, it's possible not to have any patent, no? It's intellectual property, it's industrial secret. It's to know if you are the owner of this technology, if you are free to use, if there is or not royalties with this or that company, to be very clear about the intellectual property, critical point. And the fourth is regulatory pathway. The product is ready, is registered, is not. When I say regulatory, I say real registration, no creativity. Real registration for the application of the product, I mean. No? So this 4th element is fundamental. And the last one, and I put the last one, but in my opinion is the most important one, is a clear value proposition. When this product fit in the grower program, it's not one product, one application, it's what is the value, what is the return of investment for the farmer. This is critical element. No? So finally, if I make a summary of these 5 points, for me, in short, a big company, a large company, I don't know how to say, they do not buy, you never buy a product. Product is not the point. The company buy risk reduction, the company buy acceleration on market access, and the company wants to buy a strategic fit. So if you have a clear differentiator factor, is when you are linked to the strategy fit. No? When you have a clear scale up and regulatory, you can deliver acceleration in the market access. So finally, this is the point. If you are a startup, try to convince the people that you are in front of you that you are able to reduce your risk. Second, accelerate your market access, and I'm super fit with your strategy. And this is, in my opinion, the most relevant aspect if you are a startup and you want to find the fantastic partner for your future. These 5 points, it's not 100, it's only 5.
All right, thank you so much. And Kevin, we'll go ahead with you next. What can startup biological companies do to attract larger companies as a partner? And what kind of data and information do companies planning to enter a partnership need to have?
Yeah, well, I think I probably echo a lot of what Jose's just said. It's true that many startup companies are very, very focused on their technology. And we as a company are approached by startup businesses with the next best thing in the biological field and others on a daily basis. And our problem, if you like, is to how do we differentiate between one and the other? How do we know which horse to back? And anybody who comes with a well-prepared case that's already looked at what the potential market for this technology could be, who already understands what the problem is they're trying to fix. So does this really meet an unmet need? Is it addressing a challenge that growers are currently facing or will face? And do they really understand what the value proposition for this technology would be for the grower? Because unless you understand that, it's very difficult for us as a developer marketer to make our own assessment of what the potential for that product might be. And because we only have the information that we're provided at that point in time to make any sort of judgment. So to get off the first base, if you like, you need to have at least that information available. As I mentioned, the issue around scaling up, and the other thing that's very important in terms of our ability to assess the potential for a business to decide on whether it's worth investing in or not is to understand what the cost of goods will be and what the profit potential could be. We have lots of market data available to us. We know what the value of these markets are. We know what the competitor prices of products are in the same sectors. So we can make a judgment as to whether or not this new technology will find a position, find a home. So yeah, all of those things I think are important. It's not enough just to come with a description of this new technology. We need much more than that, because as I mentioned, they will be one of many who come knocking on our door.
All right, thank you. And Sebastian, we'll go ahead with you next. What can startup biological companies do to attract larger companies as a partner? And what kind of data and information do companies planning to enter a partnership need to have?
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. So, I mean, clearly, a lot of trials information in the field, I think, is always very valuable. And that's why when companies come to Agribusiness, startup companies that we're trying to help, we ask them, what is your proof of concept in the field? And because you can't boil the ocean, it's good to start off in one certain area and focus very much. Otherwise, it's not going to be interesting for the parties coming along. I think what's also been mentioned is very clear. What is the value to the farmer? Is there a problem that is being solved? And is it attractive to the farmer? Because if it's not attractive to the farmer, then you're going to have a problem with it. So when looking at technologies, the differentiation, I think, is always a very interesting thing. How does this differentiate from something that's out there? So what companies need to do, and where we've helped a lot of companies, is understanding who is currently present in this sector and what are their technologies doing, and why is mine as a biocontrol technology maybe differentiating and delivering an added value. It won't always be that it's killing the disease or the pest faster or better or more effectively, but it might bring other values. And what's, I think, critical in that juncture is also to say that there are, again, related adjoining technologies. For example, varietal, so non-GMO breeding varietal crops, like, for example, the company Solinta in potato has got a Phytophthora resistant variety that it's coming soon, I think, hopefully, apparently this year or early next year. And if you've got a Phytophthora product that is great, well, then you're out of the market, because this is potentially something that's going to sweep you away. And the same is with certain BT corn varieties, etc. If you've got a pheromone against corn rootworm. So you really have to understand the whole area that you're working in and see, how does my technology differentiate, and what is why is this going to be attractive to Jose or Kevin in companies or similar companies, that's going to really prick up their ears and make them say, wow, let's go and do it. So I think focusing on niche markets to start off with, building up your knowledge, I think that's so critical before you can then go and start to expand with partners.
Absolutely. Well said. And finally, Ignacio, can you talk to me about what startup biologicals companies can do to attract larger companies as a partner? And what kind of data and information do companies planning to enter a partnership need to have?
Yeah, sure. I think that multinational companies and investors are becoming much more selective in biologicals during the last years. They are not longer looking for only a simple product with an interesting story. I agree with Jose in this point. In my opinion, they are looking for platforms, technologies that can generate multiply applications, fit into broader crop programs, and create long-term strategic value. For startups, this means innovation alone is not enough. Jose mentioned this very clear. They need to show real validation in the field. I agree with Sebastian in this point. Measurable agronomic results, consistency across crops, regions, and seasons, and a clear economic benefit for the farmers. We always say to our clients that the good science open doors, but demonstrating value close the deal. They also need to show that the technology is ready to scale. As Jose mentioned, that means formulation, stability, quality control, reliable manufacturing, supply capacity, and clear regulatory position. I 100% with Jose on this point. Registration already in place, or at least credible registration pathway, are extremely important. And they need to present real business case. Larger partners want to understand the target crops, market size, adoption potential, the ROI per hectare, competitive position, and how the solution fits within the existing portfolio that they already have. Because today, a good product alone is not enough. Companies are looking for integrated solutions that reduce risk, as everybody mentioned, complement the strategy, and can scale commercially. So my final message in this point will be startups need to move from we have a promising product, promising technology, to we have a validated, scalable, and commercial relevant solution. And one thing that we often hear in our advisory work here in Dunn and Trimmer is that many investors today are not longer asking for a unicorn, a unicorn. They are asking for a camel, a company that uses capital very carefully, survives difficult cycles, and can cross long deserts before reaching the scale. The market is still growing, but the winners will be those who grow with discipline from now. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Ignacio. Interesting analogy there. I like that.